Good morning, everybody. Welcome to IT Live, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Tex Homer. That is Ian Boyd. We're going to talk about the virtuous cycles this offense and defense can feed off of each other, and not in the most boring way ever. We're not talking like grinder ball necessarily. You can do some cool stuff and still control the game. Then also, we have a little topic about, I guess, the zeitgeist or the vibe around Texas kind of this past week. But first, head over to Inside Texas, where you can get 75% off your first year. I don't think we've ever ran something with this high off. So take advantage of that. New members, link in the description. I also need you to go pick up Paul's book, the 2026 Longhorn Football Prospectus. You're running out of time, guys. Now, of course, you're still going to need it in season. You can read the opponent previews before we play them. But to get to know the Longhorns, man, go ahead and buy that. You can get it digital on your e-reader, or you can get it in paper format if that is your preferred reading style. All right, Ian, let us begin, brother. Is this Paul and Ian? No, it is not. This is Tex Homer and Ian right here. Paul and Ian will be on deep dive. All right, Ian, set the stage for the zeitgeist kind of vibe this past week. You said it's been a little off.
Feels like the vibes are bad.
Feel like the vibes are off.
You have.
So?
I'm trying to remember how to. Do you have by chance polymarket percentages on what the national championship picture looks like right now?
Sure, I'll have to pull it up, but you go ahead and keep going.
It feels like the general sense is a little negative around Texas right now. I have some theories as to why, but it feels like there's a little bit more negativity around Texas than maybe we would have expected, or than I think certainly than we felt throughout the summer.
Yeah. So we have, for the Polymarket app right now, 2027. Sorry if you can see it. National champion. It's going to be at 14% Notre Dame, 13% Ohio State, 12% Texas.
12%. Is that trending up or down?
Let me see. It looks to be, a little slight dip. It looks like Ohio State was at that 3 spot and then moved up to 2 recently.
Who's number 1 again? Notre Dame?
Notre Dame, yep.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. Everybody knows that they're like maybe 2 best receivers are converted walk-on lacrosse players, right?
Like I think there's a schedule play here. I think people see
the schedule play is smart.
Yeah.
But you still have to win like how many playoff games?
Yeah, exactly. The schedule is good until you have to play all these elite teams back to back to back.
Yeah, making the play. I mean, and we've seen that work pretty well for, Notre Dame and Miami. It worked out great for them to get in and draw. They had like decent draws, but sooner or later, you got to beat really good teams. So yeah, it seems like the vibes are a little negative. I think it's centering around a lack of camp hype for Arch Manning.
Mm-hmm.
There was so here's some examples. We had Sark singing Manning's praises the other day, right? But it's mostly like we trust him. We feel like he's doing great. But then out of the other side of his mouth, he's like, the offense is too lethargic. We're too sloppy, right? Then we get this like unreal Cam Coleman catch video. But then the counter story is like, what in the world was Arch throwing? Why does that ball look like a 5-year-old tried to throw it?
And Sark on Coward didn't like say it was tipped or anything. He was like, yeah, Arch threw it, but he didn't. There was no.
He said he was under real duress.
Yeah, he said he was under real duress. Yeah,
something like that, which could mean a lot of things. It could mean it was tipped.
It could be.
He was being hit while he threw. It could mean a lot of things, right? And then, I shared a post on the board from Ryan Roberts, who's like a, Twitter scout with the NFL. He does like big scouting prep manuals of teams. And he had spoken to some people around Texas or in the Texas practices, or I don't know if they let scouts into the practices or something that he was able to get a hold of, but they had all kinds of notes on various Texas draft prospects. And a lot of it was like the defensive guys looked awesome and unreal. The skill athletes looked awesome and unreal. And then Arch Manning, they were kind of like, I don't know, he was fine. He was okay. He was not, I wasn't super impressed.
Yeah. So, is that a public post? Like he just put it all on Twitter? Or did he paywall it behind something?
It's not paywalled.
Okay.
I
haven't seen it.
An A to Z sports deal. Everyone should read it. It's very interesting. Now there's like a million things to take into account when you read something like that we could get into or not. I don't really care what NFL scouts say about college quarterbacks.
You are anti. I don't care what he does in the NFL. I want you to win now, right?
There's that NFL scouts want to see certain things that I don't give a rip about for winning in college. Like if Arch rips a post past a safety that was like almost in position, then like the NFL scout is going to be like, this guy's got unreal arm talent. Or if he like rips something on the run, it's like, this guy's got unreal talent. This is what we want to see. And I'm like, that has almost zero correlation to winning play in college football, right? And then they don't know. They're not very good at evaluating quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean,
they're like really bad at it. NFL scouts are like notoriously awful at evaluating quarterbacks. Their teams are really bad at it. The scouts are really bad at it. It's like there's no reason to really take it seriously at all. People just don't know how to evaluate that position.
Their hit rate is horrible on surefire draft picks for sure.
I have been unbelievably successful going against the zeitgeist when it comes to college quarterbacks. Because I was like last year, I was like, y'all are sleeping on Dante Moore. This guy's already played a full year of college. Then he got to sit and learn with Will Stein and sit under Dylan Gabriel. That odds are that he's going to be really good, or they would have got somebody else. Everybody else is like, this dude was terrible at UCLA, Sell in Oregon, then he's great, right? Will Howard. I was like, this is exactly what Ohio State has needed.
Dude, I was pro Will Howard at Kansas State, and everyone would always make fun of me, but
I know.
I was pro Will Howard, and for some reason, everyone was like, Will Howard sucks. I'm like, he doesn't suck. He's not going to be an elite first round guy, but it's like, he doesn't suck.
That one took a minute to come around, but
yeah, we had to fight for a little while.
He had that bad slide that ran out the clock at Oregon. So
put the head down for a little bit there.
Yeah, people just don't know how to they don't know how to evaluate quarterbacks. I have my 4 laws, which have never failed me. Right now, everybody's like all in on CJ Carr because he threw really well at the Manning camp and Notre Dame's really good and they have an awesome offensive line. And it's like, well, law number 1 of college quarterback play, receivers make the passer. He does not have great receivers. So how do you think this is going to go?
That was the first thing you asked Tyler when he got here. He was like, what do you think about those Notre Dame receivers?
Yep. That was as much me trying to get information as it was me testing Tyler.
Yeah.
And he passed and Notre Dame failed from his accounting. Same thing with like John Mateer. It's like, look, John Mateer's jacked this year. He's ready. And it's like, well, does he have anyone outside that can get open against man coverage? I'm not talking about Satania. Satania is great in the slot. He'll probably have another really good season. But do they have anybody that can get open outside against man coverage? Because that's what's going to really make or break a quarterback, usually. This has really gotten tangential, but when I read that and it's like Cam Coleman is unbelievable. Raleek Brown is a freak athlete. Like he has unreal twitch. I'm like, this is awesome. This is exactly what you want to hear. And then the part where it's like the quarterback is, I don't know, he's okay. I'm like, you've just described most college football national champions. Let's go. This is going to be awesome to watch.
Yeah.
But the vibes are bad because people want to hear the wrong things. People want to hear the quarterback is ripping throws into tight coverage. They want to hear the quarterback's unbelievable. He's coming back. And people don't understand how this sport works.
Do you think it's cope, like from the concept too of just Arch Manning's game style is going to be different than displayed in a practice scrimmage setting? Meaning he needs to have a little bit of, intangible kind of effort moment, run the ball, like kind of things that aren't simulated properly, or do you think that's cope?
There's definitely some of that. I don't really believe in gamers. I think that's like a myth.
I don't believe in gamers, but I'm saying his
I
play
believe
style.
What you're saying that it's like if you're really good at running and being hard to tackle, that does not show up in practice because they don't even let them tackle you. So
it's thud anyways.
Yeah.
I think there's something to that. Now, I still don't want that to be, and this is where we'll probably diverge because you really like this trait, or at least I think you do. I don't love. I would like him to be able to play more in the offense than hero ball moments. Not even hero ball moments, like hero ball a lot of it, I would think, but I don't know if that's necessarily a critique on Arch or me frustrated that the offense isn't providing the architecture to where Arch doesn't have to try to take over the game versus like A&M or whatever. Do you disagree with that? I feel like I think you love the hero ball moments, right?
I don't think I fully understand what you're saying. What are you not seeing?
There were a lot of games where like Arch was like, 54% completion percentage and then just had to win it with his legs. I would like it to where it's like Arch could be like, 65% kind of consistently. I don't always love that Arch had to completely just say Arch Manning is going to win the game.
We didn't have outside receivers last year, so
I think that could change.
Receivers, you got to do some hero ball. That's it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm hoping the offense this year allows for that more.
Oh, okay.
I want to see Arch playing the offense more this year.
I thought you meant the design of it. I don't think the design was the issue so much as we didn't have good enough players.
Yeah, I do think that's a factor.
I remember last year preseason, I was at like a big multifamily friend dinner before the season, like right before the season, like a lot of like college friends, like getting back together to hang out. And Texas came up because we're all Texas grads, or most of us were Texas grads. And they were talking about all the preseason hype Texas was getting last year. And they're like, looks like we're number 1 in new poll. Ian, that sound about right? And I was like, no, I don't think so. Not number 1. Definitely not number 1. They're like, where would you put us? And I was like, I just thought for a second. And I was like, maybe like number 7. And then a pall.
Yeah, dinner ruined.
Dinner ruined. Yeah. Yeah. That bore out though. That bore out. Texas lacked talent in key spots, like I argued.
It feels like we did a video earlier this week that was kind of talking about the national pundits kind of giving either their ranking of Texas or kind of how they thought the season was going to go. It was a lot of like 10-2. And then what they would do too, that I've noticed kind of a trend, they'll keep Texas in the elite tier, anywhere from kind of that 1 through 6, but they kind of 1 through 5, 1 through 6, whatever, however they break it down. But they always put Texas at the bottom or near the bottom of the elite tier. So there's kind of this suspicion, I guess, of like, look, we know you're elite. We know the roster's crazy, but we are discounting you for a wider reason, not a talent reason. It appears like a kind of like a coaching reason or a lack of maximization reason, but that's a trend too. It's like you're elite, but there might be something holding you back.
People go backwards in college football. They go like, which team has the shiny new object that hasn't been marred yet by failure?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like everybody latches onto that. And then it's like, well, Arch, we've seen Arch, and he had some tough times last year. And we've seen this guy, and he had some tough times last year. It's like, that's the guy you want then. Because that guy just had all of his flaws on display. And then he had an off season to actually improve and grow in all the things that has been highlighted for him as weaknesses. And so generally that makes all the difference in the
You
world.
saw it last year with Texas at number 1 was the shiny new object.
Yes, yes. Shiny new arch,
Mhm.
shiny Texas recruiting classes that everybody assumed like, well, they got
Mhm.
5-star CJ Baxter, they got 5-star Ryan Wingo, they got whatever. They're going to be awesome.
I
It's like,
can name a lot of players on that roster, therefore.
yeah, I remember all these guys are Oregon is like this a lot.
Yeah,
Oregon's
this
like
year.
this right now. It's like DeCorian Moore and Evan Stewart. I don't know if either of those two guys actually know how to get open against good cornerbacks.
I haven't watched them. Like,
But
I
they're
love that.
fast.
I
And we
love
remember them
Stewart.
recruiting.
I loved Stewart out of high school, and then I loved more. We wanted him, but I haven't watched them in college enough. I've seen more practice work, not practice, like workout with trainer videos of those guys than I've seen them play at Oregon. So I wouldn't even know what to say there.
We'll see. Stewart had like some bad injuries, and so a lot of it is like how is his agility back? And then like he can look fast in a highlight or something, but straight line speed is, you can't get open with straight line speed
Right? You need
in
the
college.
you need the
You don't got
acceleration change.
4.9 white corners anymore. You just run by like it. Where did Evan Stewart play?
And then they just play in high school.
Yeah,
He was in Frisco, right?
yeah. You're not in North Dallas no more.
He and then but DeCorian was at Duncanville.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, they're the same thing. Like Duncanville, they're awesome. It's an awesome program. They're very run centric. They're not like it's not like they're not teaching like option routes there, I don't think.
So you think the negative vibes are actually a potentially a positive indicator?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that sounds a little too contrarian to say, but yeah. I think so. It's yes. Texas, like the things about Texas, the things that people are nitpicking are just so dumb. Like the other thing that people are really trying to work up is this idea that Will Muschamp was shelved, and he's come in like rusty, and he barely knows what's going on, and he hasn't been trustworthy.
I haven't even seen that. What are you talking about? I
You
haven't
haven't
seen that
seen
at
that?
all.
Oh man, there's so many.
I've
people.
heard that like he was shelved because he hasn't been a DC in years, but I haven't heard anything about. Frankly, I've only heard like insane positive remarks about Muschamp. So I didn't even hear
around
that
the program. Around the program, it's like Boom is back.
Yeah,
but and he's not. He's just exactly like when he was here last time. And then, but nationally, if you want to be negative about Texas, then that's an easy one to be like, are we sure Muschamp's still good?
yeah, I've heard that like he hasn't been a DC in X years. That's with that one, but I thought that kind of died down a little bit because we've just heard like crazy praise from the defense. Um, we've heard a lot of the defense wasn't the problem, those kind of things. At what level do you want to hear? It doesn't have to be like NFL traits. It doesn't have to be like he's tight windows, he has good pocket manipulation, all the stuff the NFL looks at. But at what point do you want it, or do you even care to hear any kind of like, hey, Arch had a really big day, he threw 4 touchdowns. Does that matter to you at all?
Yeah, I wrote in my what I do and don't want to hear. I wrote that I do want to hear that Arch is doing some dominating.
Yeah,
I was like, he should be at the point now where he just has days where it's like, well, nothing we could do. Just Arch, just beat good defense, and it doesn't feel like we've heard that.
Yeah.
So I don't love that. There is one. I don't know if this is a caveat or cope, where we heard that Sark has really tried to emphasize the run game on offense and really try to get that right. And then just kind of trust that the skill talent will be fine when the time comes. And then it kind of seems like maybe he changed gears because he was like, we're going to have to play the starters more next scrimmage.
Also, the run game got completely shut down last scrimmage, like completely shut down by the interior. So I still have to it's the zero-sum problem. It's like I think the defense can be really good. There's incredible players all over it. and then too, we're getting a little bit copy. The thing I hear is just like, oh, well, the defense is supposed to be ahead of the offense. The defense is supposed to be ahead of the offense. It's like, yeah, I know. But if Arch had a big day at the scrimmage, no one would say, well, something's wrong here because the defense is supposed to be ahead of the offense. That only comes out when the offense isn't having a good day. That's where I understand that line of thinking. I agree with it slightly, but it also feels a little bit like, all right, guys, we still want to hear that our quarterback is like, the offense is not lethargic, and even when the defense is good, the quarterback can make plays, right? So I don't know. It's preseason camp where there's a kind of excuses either side from no matter what happens.
I have my concern is that Sark is stubborn about the run. And it's like, Sark, you got to throw the ball with Arch. Like, look where your money is on this roster.
Yeah, was the offense slow because Sark was running it on first and second down and it was getting stonewalled. So now it's 3rd and 8. And so now we're trying to push the ball and it doesn't look good. Like how we don't get that insight of
it's a difficult balance though, because he's got to toughen them up. They have to be good enough at the run as a constraint, right? But then when they do focus on the run, they're running into impossible like defensive line play. So it's like it's really hard. It's really hard to run the ball against a defensive line like this.
I also like the iron sharpens iron thing. 100% it does. But if there's degrees to this. So like if I go and fight a heavyweight champion, he's just going to beat my ass. I'm not going to learn anything. I'm not going to develop anything. Iron sharpens iron whenever there's an exchange occurring. It can't just be where one side of the ball is completely shut, because now we're not getting reps. We're not actually learning anything from just constantly getting stuff. So there's also a line there. It's not just iron sharpens iron in that regard. There has to be give and take. And look, towards the end of the scrimmage, they scored touchdowns. So kind of the contour of it was they got shut down, and towards the end they started to hit some explosives. So it wasn't like wall-to-wall shutdown, but I do get weary of anytime you hear like that line of reasoning too. It's like it's getting your ass beat is actually not a positive growth factor. So you also have to kind of be aware of that too. But it doesn't seem like it was just wall-to-wall there, Ian.
Yeah. What's up, Charlie? Yeah, I can tell you from watching little kids learn how to tackle, they have to start with easy wins. They have to build confidence in the techniques. If you like try to teach them and it's like, okay, this step should be here. You want to aim here. You want to follow this. You do this follow through. And then you run them into like the biggest, fastest kid. And then they're like thinking and trying to figure it out and they just get run over. It does not help the development.
Correct.
The same thing. Everything in the world is like this. The whole iron sharpens iron. The way to get somebody good is to throw them into the Shark Tank. There's some things that can work in, but generally that's not how you learn anything.
Yeah.
It's like the thing you're saying. It's like if you try to learn boxing by sparring with Mike Tyson in his prime, you're not going to learn anything.
Yep. You're going to learn how much hospital bills cost is what you're going to learn.
Yeah.
But yeah, that too. So those are kind of some of the themes. Defense has to automatically be ahead of the offense. Therefore, I'm okay with my offense not working. Disagree. They're not saying that outright, but that's kind of the implicit nature of that statement. And then also the iron sharpens iron. It's like, that's not really what's happening in some of those regards. There has to be give and take. You need to hear days where offense won. It shouldn't. I agree that you overall want to hear most likely the defense seeing reps and stuff like that will be ahead, but offense needs to have days. And you need to hear things like, man, the defense was crazy today, but the offense figured it out, or they went to this scheme or this. You need to hear the counters too.
Iron sharpens iron, but it pulverizes wood, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Before we keep going, let's hear a quick word from Academy.
It's going to be hard.
Turn everyday spending into more fun. Earn unlimited 2% in rewards when you spend outside Academy. My Academy Rewards MasterCard, the official card of fun.
Academy. What do you want to hear over these next we only have really 1 week until actual game prep week, but is there anything offensively you'd like to hear reasonably?
I want to hear Arch's clicking. I want to hear. So honestly, if they're focused on running the ball, we're never going to hear a great thing about them in fall camp against this defense. We're just not. It's not going to happen. There's the rosiest, most optimistic view of this offense. They're still going to get crushed trying to run the ball forcefully against this defense, unless the backup linebackers are in.
And it's going to lead to interceptions because they're going to be in 3rd and 8 and they're going to be forcing it. So you're
going to hear linebackers. I think maybe they could be had.
Yeah,
I think there's a reason you hear that KJ Lacey leads a lot of touchdown drives, and it's that the backup linebackers make a lot of mistakes. But yeah, the first string, no way. But on the flip side, if they let Arch do some drop back and throw the ball around, and maybe this is happening a little more now, and maybe that's why we're hearing that Mosley is doing good, and maybe that's why we're hearing that Arch is doing a little better, then I think it flips the script. Like, it's really, really hard to run the ball on a defense like this, and you should not expect to be able to do it unless you have outstanding run blocking personnel and probably like a really involved quarterback in the run game. But on the flip side, it's extremely hard to stop an offense like this if it gets clicking in the passing game, just in drop back. Extremely difficult. So that's where this offense should be elite, is if they can develop that.
And now Sark's saying Arch is clicking in Monday and Tuesday practice. Do you guys not believe it? So Sark spoke Monday. He didn't speak Tuesday to talk about Tuesday practice. We met with players. And then Sark said that he thought Arch had a good camp. So kind of what about that, Ian?
That's what I'm saying. If they start throwing the ball around, and that's why we're hearing Mosley's doing so good, then that's great. That's exactly what you want to hear the last week or two. When's the first game? In a couple weeks?
Yeah.
So we got like one more big scrimmage Saturday, and then it's like on to Texas State.
Yeah, we're in game week next week.
Okay.
So Sark's comments felt like damage control. It didn't, not that intense of damage control, but it did feel like there was a response to a narrative with those answers talking about camp. So he would say, Arches look good. He's where he needs to be. Kind of what Ian was saying, like kind of not going into specifics, a little vague on just kind of intangible traits. And then, but he would keep kind of at the end saying, and then we have 2 weeks to get to where we need to be. And we have 2 weeks. So he would kind of at the end be like, hey, there's more to be done there. And which is obvious, but he's like, Art's doing good, but we have these 2 weeks.
Feels like we put him in a no-win situation where going into the season, it's like if they can just get that offensive line into good order, we should be amazing. And then Sark and the staff spend all this time trying to get the offensive line in good order. And then like the rest of the offense isn't quite clicking yet. And it's like the rest of the offense isn't quite clicking yet.
Yeah.
Panic. And they're like, well, yeah, we may have delayed that a little bit. We do need to get that going, but we're trying to address
it. Is a little wild that we're 2 weeks out and like we're still trying to get this left guard. Now, of course, Seymour being injured was a huge factor there, but it is just slightly annoying that we just like don't have it completely nailed down. Of course, can't deal with the Gooseby stuff either. But I can see why people get a little wigged out there for sure.
Offense is always like offense is so skill intensive. You have to develop different order and cohesion before it's successful.
Yeah. It's nerves. People are getting antsy. Texas fans too are kind of unique in that regard. Like there is a negative tilt to the Texas. There's like a pretty analytical side to the fan base that I don't always see in others. Like they're willing to actually, sometimes they're willing to hear the negatives of the team. When I go on other people's boards, it's just pure positive. Like for instance, I was talking about this with Eric. So, you haven't had glowing Arch reports. And so like A&M and OU are like, he sucks. We told you, but that's just really saying a lot about A&M and OU's fan base that like they don't get any truth telling in that regard. So you have to have glowing QB reports. So I think there's that side too, that Texas, for some reason, across the media is willing to be slightly more honest in that regard.
Texas also vacillates between like what starts here changes the world, and we're the best and the greatest, and that's just all there is to it.
Yeah.
And then we vacillate from that to like run for your lives.
Yeah.
The Sooners are going to cross the Colorado River and burn and loot everything. We are frauds.
It is a strange form of elitism that we have. That's for sure. It's this too self-aware version of it, I guess. But that is unique to Tech. I'd have to see all the other boards, but it's definitely unique amongst the major programs. I think Georgia does it a little bit. Alabama, because of their history, they can kind of spot holes better. They're not always purely positive. They can freak out too, but it's a rare trait wherever you're hearing like, hey, Arch is done. And not glowing doesn't mean bad. Like, it hasn't been bad Arch reports. It's just been kind of like lukewarm. Like, yeah, looks good.
Michigan can be like this.
Can they?
Yeah, it's like one time somebody wrote this long treatise on how changing demographic and economic patterns in the Midwest were going to doom Michigan to eternal subjugation at the hands of the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That sounds like something you would write.
Well, then, no.
That sounds like you were. That sounds like you were moonlighting.
And then Harbaugh comes over and fixes it finally, and then, yep.
Texas always has a 10-plus page dialogue on their message board about Arch in Texas. Yeah, it's very strange. They're some of the best customers we have, but they take that immediately and catastrophize it. And you should wonder why you're not getting that reporting. On the flip side, there's no way your quarterback is having that great of a camp, no matter kind of who you are. So there's a weird way where I actually feel more comforted sometimes by the honest reporting in the space. Ian, are you prepared to go on to your next thesis?
Yep.
Let's get it. This is about how the Texas Longhorns can control games in 2026 with a virtuous offense-defense cycle. So complementary play. Ian, will you set this up here and then tell me when to scroll, brother?
I think Texas is going to be in very good shape next year with their ability to impose a style on the game early on offense and pull opponents into a realm, into a style of game where this defense will be impossible to deal with. So particularly a passing-oriented game, you don't want to be in a position where you are in obvious passing situations against this Texas defense. But you could easily end up there because this offense is like designed to score quickly and put fast pressure on you.
The classic 17-0 first quarter from Sark in the past, right?
Yeah. In the past, it would go like this. Texas gets the 17-0 first quarter. PK plays conservative. Teams struggle to score against it, but they're able to hold on to the ball, right? And maybe puts a few drives together. Sark's script runs out. Texas starts running 3-and-outs. Texas starts having struggle, sputtering on offense. The other team's offense get more and more chances to pound away at the conservative defense. Something slips here, something slips there. It's 17-10. The defense is starting to get tired. The offense can't find the scoreboard. The offense finally kicks a field goal. They win. The defense gives up a touchdown. They win 20-17. Everyone's like gasping for breath on their couches, right? Ian and Connor are arguing about it the next day.
No, in the group chat live.
Yeah. That's not how it's going to work with this defense. This defense, I think, is going to be more aggressive about attacking other teams' passing games with the pass rush, with the style of coverage. Not necessarily the schemes. The schemes might actually be extremely similar, but the disposition of the players and the way they attack routes, I think that it could be the case. So I laid out like 2 ways that Texas can really hurt teams this year. One is they get out 17-0 on the script, right? Then maybe they start to slow down on offense. But the other team is like, we got to throw to get back in this game. They start throwing picks. They throw a pick 6. Suddenly it's 24-0. It's 27-0 because Texas got such good field position that they kicked a field goal, even though the offense couldn't do anything. And all of a sudden the game's just like over. And the offense finds its footing late or it doesn't, but it doesn't even matter anymore because the defense was able to double down on the same dynamics to just put the game out of reach.
And to force the opposing offense into a decision. It's like, we know you're desperate to get back in the game, but we're going to do everything to make sure TFL sacks and turnovers can happen. PK would just kind of stop the bleed. Yep.
Then there's the other scenario where this is somewhat more in praise of the offense. Texas doesn't get the 17-0 lead on the script, but the other team can't get away from the Texas because the defense is too good. This is all, I think the defense is going to be nationally elite. And I think that's going to afford Texas a lot of different paths to victory. And so the second one is, the other team never pulls away, right? Sark's offense, I think, is going to be extremely hard to keep down for a full game. Like I was giving the hypothetical where they score early on script and then they struggle because we've seen that before. But I think teams are going to find it almost impossible to keep Texas from like eventually finding something because they have so much speed on this team and they have so many different play designs. And then there's like just Arch can just take off and run at any minute. And so I think I don't think this is a team that you can like hold down and win 17-13. I think it's just too inevitable that things are going to slip and Texas is going to score.
And cheap, easy ways with athletes, right? If we do go that screen focus, like you point out too, that's one missed tackle. Wingo will house it. You turn your back on Arch and aren't paying attention, he can go and house it. There's these easy kind of outlets too for big plays, even that's not necessarily Cam Coleman downfield, but you need to factor in Cam Coleman downfield.
Yep. And then also, Niblet punt return.
Yeah, you do talk special teams there at the end.
The special teams are set up this year to just be one more thing that just makes it impossible. Like,
is there a style of play that could come along that you think does, that one game a year where you're like, what is going on? This doesn't look like the offense or the defense. Is there a style of play?
Yeah, if the other team can hang around in the game long enough to pound away in the run game, I think Texas is very vulnerable to that.
And why is that?
Because the linebackers is why.
So that's so just like, God.
Especially the backups.
Sure.
It was really not good that Anthony Smith got the boot.
Yeah.
I mean, not that was the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
What was bad about it is that ended up being the situation.
Yeah.
Because they don't have we don't really know if Brad Spence can play inside linebacker. Like, we know he can blitz from inside linebacker, but we don't know if he can play inside linebacker. And we kind of know the freshman can't.
Yeah.
Like, I think all three of them could be really good eventually, but they're all going to make mistakes in this year one. And that's going to be like the Achilles heel of the defense, probably.
How do you get them up to speed? I mean, you have Texas State, you have UTSA. Like, how do you start to backfill that as much as possible?
How do you make your first million?
First million's the hardest, baby.
Yeah, it's not. Either you have a guy who's naturally instinctive and knows exactly what to do and knows how to learn everything fast, or you don't,
Yeah.
and they gotta learn.
Yeah. So what do you think about Eric's reporting that they could give a look to JJR there?
I like that a lot. I think JJR is more likely to take to it fast and know how to avoid bad mistakes because he's played in the box as like a nickel and dime before in practices. And he's just been around the game for a few years now.
Safety's a vision position too. So like a core feature is being able to see and read.
I don't know if he can read offensive line flow at the level he needs to, or how quickly he'll take to that.
And it's way closer.
It's way close. It's a different ball game. I feel pretty good about that. The only thing I don't like about it is just the lack of. I don't know if that's enough. I think he's a really good potential backup insurance for Raheem Biles on the money spot. But the more plugging Mike position, that feels like that's a reach for him.
Yeah, but that wasn't even Ty Anthony's skill set either. It's like Ty Anthony wasn't like an archetype backup juice crier Mike either.
Yeah.
And I don't even still fully know.
I was worried about this before Ty Anthony.
I was going to say, yeah, this is the problem before Ty Anthony left.
Ty Anthony was our most probable solution, and it just went totally bust.
Yeah.
So now it's like, what's the new solution? It's like, well, maybe Spence can do it. And you're like, maybe. It's like, well, maybe Rocky Cummings can figure it out as a freshman. That doesn't feel awesome. Like, well, maybe Apala can, because he's actually been. It's like Apala maybe, but he's been like playing Sam half the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, and people are like, oh, Darius Snow and Marcus Boswell. And it's like, no, just. That's not going to happen.
I am going to be on the All-22, like obsessed with watching the next line of linebackers whenever they get it in versus Texas State. But at some point, we do have to find some type of an answer there for like a backup Mike style.
Yep.
And I think it could be Spence. He wasn't great going backwards. Like when I watched his All-22 at Arkansas, but I mean, he did play off-ball linebacker. So there's more than just like he's never done it. But that needs to get figured out for the run game too, because we're going to have a good D-line, but if they can just grind it out. Are there any of those teams that feels like we're facing the veer and shoot every week anyways?
Ohio State.
Ohio State will go heavy personnel with Arthur Smith.
Ohio State this is a very big concern with Ohio State, especially if you're not able to get a safety involved because you're too worried about Jeremiah Smith.
Sure.
And then honestly, then it's not so bad. Maybe Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Maybe Oklahoma. But their line does not. I don't think their line is going to be good enough this year. I posted a snarky thing. I've been dialing it way up on Oklahoma.
It's hilarious because I'll see it never fails. I'll see Oklahoma getting active, and then like 20 minutes later, I'll see Ian getting active. He sees whenever it starts, and then he tries to get him some, dude. And it makes me laugh every time your tweet shows up like 20 minutes later.
Yeah, Parker Thune was getting real annoyed. He was like, all this guy does is tweet about Oklahoma.
They always go to the same one. They're just like a lot of Oklahoma fans in Austin. It's just like, guys, we are rivals. We're going to talk about your team. It's weird that you think it's weird.
They're so unused to hearing anything negative about their team, like you said.
And I like all those guys. They do a great job, but like they clutch pearls anytime we talk about Oklahoma. It's like, guys, we are rivals. We have no problem if you guys talk about Texas. This is a normal thing occurring. It's strange that y'all don't see that.
Anyway, one of the most common plays in college football next year is people going over Oklahoma 8.5 wins. And I don't think so, because that offensive line is not gonna get them over 8.5.
So maybe OU could try it in Ohio State, but really it's just Ohio State, which is not great because we don't have a lot of time to figure that part out.
Maybe Florida.
Yeah.
There's other teams out there. Georgia would be a big concern in this regard if we play Georgia.
They loom.
Maybe Notre Dame if we played Notre Dame in the playoffs.
Hopefully
Indiana,
by that point we have something. We've developed something there for like second string depth. But I got to talk to you guys real quick about something. If you're running a business in Texas, could be real estate, construction, manufacturing, any of that type of stuff, you need to talk to fellow Longhorn Drew Smith at Hub International. So most companies outgrow their insurance. They never realize it. They just kind of check the box early on. And it's like 6 years later, you've grown and you have the same policy. But then a claim gets denied or a gap costs you. So Drew builds tailored programs, not generic quotes. You're not just gonna put your email into a website and then you have 9,000 spam calls. And he's also gotten denied claims paid in full, real numbers. He saved one real estate portfolio nearly $500,000 through their restructuring. So proven results. Rates are shifting right now, but if your agent's only answer is it's a hard market, aka I'm not doing my job, call Drew Smith, 210-393-8382. Talk to Drew before your renewal, not after. All right. So that's the style, game control guy. But there's not a ton of them. Ohio State's going to be a big factor. But what I like about this is, like, when you think of game control, you think of this really boring style, like defensive focus, slog ball, safe offense. But you're describing like a game control through like unbridled aggression. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
It's like moving forward in a fight. If you're constantly moving forward, you're dictating the terms. Kalen DeBoer is, I think, the master of this. I think Sark is good at it, but I think DeBoer is the master. If you go watch that unreal Michael Penix team that whooped our defense in the playoffs, they would have games that would drive you nuts all the time, where they would win like closer scoring Pac-12 games where they would score early and then they would just kind of hold the other person down and outpoint them, And that is a very, very effective if you can do it. If you have like the capacity to just kind of turn it on and off as needed, it's very effective. The key is scoring early and putting pressure on the other team.
Forcing them into desperate decisions and into the teeth of Muschamp's turnover style. So I think this is a good thing you brought up. So Sark was on third and Longhorn, and he talked about, they were like, basically like, hey, how does Texas essentially look compared to your 2020 Alabama team? And, he said some things where he didn't go as far as saying this looks like 2020 Alabama, but he pointed some things that look nice. And then, but he did say the difference with that team was a killer instinct, and we have to develop that. And I don't think he's talking about the defense there necessarily. So I did think that was interesting, because you would like to hear 2 weeks out that like you would think they had the killer instinct. I know you have to prove it on the field, but it seems like he's like, that was the differentiator. And you're describing a kind of killer instinct style. If we're missing that piece, though, kind of what happens?
I guess I don't know exactly what that means, other than like
he said we never played a close game. We never played a close game because we didn't sputter out. And it's not just the players not having a killer instinct. Like Sark's had problems with that, like the offense kind of turning off. So I don't, that should go to the coaches and the players as well. But he points out, he's like, we never played a close game. We need to be able to do that.
Okay. I still don't understand. It feels like the key is
the lack of ability to run up score.
It feels like it's being able to execute, especially improvised and non-scripted offense.
Yeah. But I think it's also, once you get to 17-0, for whatever reason, whether it's coaching or players, not going like, whew, we're good. No offense for 2 quarters now.
I don't know if that's what our teams are doing, though. It feels like we're not as good at. It feels like we just haven't been as good if everything is not perfectly calibrated and spoon-fed.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's killer instinct or just like not being as good.
Yeah, but I think it's a proxy for the word. I think it'll look like Killer Instinct, an average, but really it's just we got to figure out that disconnect where the offense turns off. And you're saying here there's some ways with this defense where you're luckily affording for that, which has been a theme. It'd be great if it wasn't, but it's been present pretty much every year. So I think it is kind of a bug of the system, and this defense can help you even whenever that does happen. Is that correct?
Yeah, this defense is going to make it. It's going to be very forgiving to this offense. I think this offense paired with a elite scoring defense that takes advantage of pressure on the other team is there's going to be a lot more synergy. Like I said, like if you get up early, the defense can bury somebody for you. If you don't get up early and you have to struggle, the defense will give you time to get your act together. It sounds really simple, but the specific passing dimension of it is what matters. When you can force teams to like outskill Texas this year, that's going to be a winning formula.
Do you worry at all about getting up and then you incentivize the deep pass and desperation, frankly, from the offense, and then you pair it with an aggressive style that could be hit or miss?
Not really. Are you?
I think it's a mismatch. That style can mismatch, but I don't think it'll happen enough to be an issue. But I do think naturally Sark has incentivized. We had this horrible problem when we had like bad secondaries of doing game situations that forced passing offenses to be aggressive, and then it would go into our weakness. I don't think the secondary this year is going to be a weakness of Texas, but I do think that there's going to be times where the counter punches are going to get through there. I don't know if it's going to be enough for 21 points, but aggression can be exploited on the flip side too. I mean, I understand why coaches do at times go conservative in that realm.
Yeah, but Muschamp can be conservative and still.
Well, that's what I wanted you to say. I wanted you to say, well, that we have all of this stuff in too high. We have all of this.
They can still clamp teams that are trying to do that.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is also just the pass rush. What really kills teams, as I highlight in the article, is if you give teams a lot of chances to come back in the game, pass rush wears out. And also, especially in the Big 12, but potentially in any league, holding calls get a little less common. When it's like, I don't know if it's something the officials are taught to do, or if they just kind of get caught up in the moment of, I wonder if this team can get back. I'm not going to call this hold on Simmons.
I think there's a real human element there.
I want to see if this quarterback can make this throw or not. Let's leave it up. Like, you go watch Penn State had this unreal pass rusher the year they went to the semifinal a couple years ago. And if you go watch them against Notre Dame and Riley Leonard, their unreal edge was getting held relentlessly on like every snap. Abdul Carter. And it was like unbelievable what they were letting Notre Dame get away with against Abdul Carter. But it was like, they don't want the game to be decided by whether this tackle can block Abdul Carter or not.
Correct.
They want the game to be decided by the ball's in the air and we all hold our breath.
They've done studies with refs. I talked about this on the other show. They've done studies on refs where they've shown a penalty without audio, and then they've shown a penalty with fan noise and booing and pressure, and their call rate goes through the roof. I mean, they're human beings. They're affected by the situation and the environment. And you're right. They don't want to be the one that stopped this heroic comeback stories too. They're influenced by the crowd. They're influenced by the situation, undoubtedly.
So be prepared for some of that with Colin Simmons this year, because it's kind of Colin Simmons is kind of unfair. And so they're going to it's like Shaq. They're going to let people foul the crap out of him. Right.
Yeah.
Because it's just not fun to watch Shaq just dunk 50 times in a row.
For us, it's incredible to watch Shaq.
Yeah, for us, the team that has Shaq.
Yeah.
But that said, Texas is a lot less susceptible to those problems than other teams because they have so many pass rushers so they can bring them in waves and not get tired. And then also, like, to hold Simmons, you have to get him first, you know?
And I've tried to think of every way to do it. Jump setting him, it doesn't matter. He has teleportation abilities. Ryan asked us earlier, Ian Homer, what is your confidence level on our corners in 2026 as the season approaches?
Very high. Maybe too high.
I am searching for the defense on what I'm taking for granted. There's something I'm taking for granted. Because I'm just like, I'm putting too little thought like in times to this, like the secondary or whatever. I'm just like, they're great, they'll be good. And at some point I'm gonna miss something there. So I've been trying to be harder on my defensive analysis. I think linebackers an obvious, like, hey, run game, depth there, but I think that's too obvious. But there's something to get, hopefully there's not, but there's gotta be something I'm missing here that I'm way overvaluing. And it could just be year one. Like in the offseason, that was one of my big things. Like, look, I'm not going to go all in on the defense. It's year one. And then slowly I've been kind of through practice reports and just social engineering, been kind of like beat down on that as just like an automatic given, I guess. But then you name all the players on the roster and you're like, hell yeah, brother.
They have a lot of good players.
They have a lot of good players, man. And so it's like, there's something here. Maybe I'll just sit down for like a Saturday afternoon for a couple hours and just try to think. Is there anything like that like you can't even voice, but you just have like a question about?
I can't. Well, how would I voice it?
I still am like, I want to see safety, and I can't even intellectualize it. Like I'm just like, I want to see this safety room. And I don't know where that's coming from. Could be total bullshit, but like that, I still have that.
Just Arch. Arch is the big one.
I'm talking about defense specifically because it seems like right now the defense is just like, yep, all good, top three. And it could be true.
It's true.
But is there any facet of that? It's like, well, the pass defense actually is not where we thought it would be. Or
I want to see Arch.
Yeah. What's your
backup linebacker fits? That's my big question on defense. Backup linebacker fits. That's it. Everything
what do
else,
you want to see from Arch? The system not fitting to him, or still just the classic problems? Like he's not completing short man. He's doing kind of these baffling things.
Yeah. I just want to see that he has a good command of I want to see congruence between what Sark is asking him to do and his ability to consistently execute it. I don't really care what it is. I just want to see congruence, right? I don't want to see, I'm going to scheme Ryan Wingo wide open for you on 4th down, and then you're going to miss it. Right?
Yeah.
I don't care what they do. I have a million ideas on their behalf. I have a million ideas of what they're going to do. I've heard some stuff about what they're going to do. I've heard some stuff before about what they were going to do and then didn't see it, to my great disgruntlement. I just want to see it come together and make sense. Also, tight end. I have a lot of questions about tight end.
Yeah, it's definitely the weakest on the offensive side.
I don't even know if that's the case. I'm just curious what it looks like.
It's the weakest because you can't name what's going to happen, I guess. It's like, with Cam, that, but it's just, you're like, because at first it was like, well, Townsend's coming along, but we don't know if he's going to have it. And then like in the last week, they're like, Townsend's looking really good. And then it'll flip back to like, Shannon had a good practice. And so it's just, I can't get a beat on it, man. It's like all over the place with like, okay, who's leading that? Who's in 11? Who's having the good practice? That kind of thing. I've been surprised by a lack of Masunis. I thought that was going to be like in reporting or just in general. I thought that was going to be much more crystal clear from his Michigan State tape.
I think he's going to be fine. I'm not worried about it.
I don't know how many sources are sitting there watching like tight end blocking, but it's like,
yeah, that's
a factor. But it's like I wish I would have heard more there.
Like I have to remind myself to do this exercise with teams all the time. It's like I pull up their film I see if they run duo or split zone with the tight end, and then what it looks like when the tight end has to base block a defensive end. And if you just do that exercise with teams around the country, you're going to realize real fast how big a difference that makes in a team's ceiling.
Yeah.
Can their tight end base block a defensive end is like one of the most this is why college football preseason commentary is like often extremely useless, because that's like one of the most important questions that any college football offense faces every single freaking year. Can your tight end base block a defensive end? No one gives a rip. No one cares. No one thinks about it. It's, does my tight end have hands like Travis Kelce?
Mm-hmm.
Is this the year we're going to start Jason Witten?
Yep.
No one is doing that. The teams that had Travis Kelce and Jason Witten barely did that.
Yeah, correct.
That's not how it works. But can my tight end base block a defensive end without getting made to look like a middle schooler is an enormous question with huge ramifications that's going to like set the table for everything else in your offense. And no one looks at that. I try to look at it.
I keep asking. I need to hear about running back pass blocking too. Now you can go 12, you can do all these things, but it's just completely absent from the conversation. But that's something I want to hear too, just with how much Pack has shown us too, that like they're going after that running back, like every shot. Some of that is Georgia trauma. But there's a couple seemingly little things that don't get talked about that matter a lot. So we're hearing things too. Hey, I don't want to be in 12 personnel. I want more 11. We're still hearing it's pretty much 50-50 on 11 and 12 personnel. I think you can maybe beat that out of Sark at some point, like we saw versus Mississippi State. There's like moments of desperation, but he is from the jump. He is not going to do that. There's going to be 12 personnel in a healthy serving.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
You think 11 personnel is the move, right?
Yeah. I'm happy to do 12 when it's like, hey, we scored 17 points on script. Let's run the ball and go home. I'm totally fine with that, especially if Masunis is what we think he is. I think that'll be fine. I think that'll work pretty well against like almost the whole schedule. So that's fine. But yeah, when this team really needs to make it happen, like you should be in 11 and you should be much more progression passing oriented than we've often seen.
You have damn good receivers. Arch is good at it. Quarterback run gets cooler in that world. I get 12 personnel, but I agree with you. It's just like we can't just be doing it just to do it or just to set up something that's not going to work or something like that. But there's no way around it. Like it's still 50-50, 11 and 12. Like it's just a core foundation of Sark's offense.
There's a lot of things they can do in 12 that could be really big. Like when you play in 12, you make it really hard for teams to double Cam Coleman. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense to have that dimension in the offense. Sark's also really, really good at putting teams in binds with 12. He just understands that world so much better than like usually the defenses that are trying to counter it do.
If you can complete the pass.
If you can block, really, right? If you can run block.
Yeah, a lot of times the pass is not completed because you can't block, but it's just like if you're just using 12 to get safeties down and blah, 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 but you never get a payoff, now you're just like going with this really inefficient style. So it's like if it pays off, great.
The more teams lean into how to play nickel versus 12, then we should see diminishing returns on Sark's 12 personnel.
You think that they would figure that out eventually and not just let Sark game plan you into disadvantage? I would stay in nickel versus Texas 12 in previous seasons for sure. We'll see about
people get so hard-headed. They don't want to watch. Everyone's afraid of getting like game controlled with 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Defensive coaches are horrified by like teams getting 3-yard runs. It's like, let them have it, man. But there's just something in the ethos and the soul of defensive coordinator that cannot allow forward run progress, even if it's ultimately inefficient and will not result in the first down. It's very strange. Everyone, head over to Inside Texas, 75% off. Take advantage of it, guys. The season's about to start. Then I want you to go pick up Paul's book. You can get it on your Kindle or e-reader, and you can also get it, I think, in 2 days, 48 hours if you order the physical copy, linked in the description below. And then stay locked in for the rest of the shows we have coming at you. And this was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. See y'all.